Hello children, welcome back to the class. In this video, we are going to discuss about the process of digestion. So before entering into the process of digestion, we shall see the different components of food, where do they get digested and what enzymes are used in order to digest. So what are the five different components in food? Carbohydrates, protein, fat, vitamins and minerals. Any ideas children where carbohydrates gets digested in our body? Okay, let me tell you. So the first component is carbohydrate. So carbohydrates, I told you the complex form is carbohydrates which turns into the simpler form glucose. So initial digestion of carbohydrates takes place in mouth. And we have an enzyme that is produced from saliva. So the enzyme name is salivary amylase. Okay, so the initial digestion of carbohydrates takes place in mouth with the help of saliva carrying enzyme called salivary amylase. So salivary amylase is also called as ptyalin. So it's also called as ptyalin. So the next component is protein. So protein yields amino acids. Protein yields amino acids. So the initial digestion of protein that takes place in stomach with the help of an enzyme called pepsin. Protein digestion can also occur by the secretions of pancreas. The enzyme name is trypsin. And the complete digestion of protein takes place in small intestine. Now coming to the third component, fat. So the fat turns into fatty acids and glycerol. Fatty acids and glycerol. So this conversion takes place with the help of secretions from liver. So liver will secrete bile and also by the secretions of pancreas, which secretes an enzyme called lipase. And the complete digestion takes place in small intestine. And what about vitamins and minerals? Okay, let me tell you. So vitamins and minerals, they do not undergo a big digestion process, but they are readily absorbed. Say for example, vitamins are two types. One is fat soluble vitamin, the other is water soluble vitamin. So vitamins like vitamin A, D, E, K, these kind of vitamins, they dissolve in the fat that are present in our body, especially in the secretions of liver. Whereas water soluble vitamins are B complex vitamin and vitamin C. These vitamins, they dissolve, they are soluble in water. So these kind of vitamins, they dissolve in fat and it is stored. So whenever the body is in need, the vitamin can be utilized. Whereas these water soluble vitamins are soluble in water and it is excreted on daily basis. So it is necessary to intake a vitamin B complex and vitamin C in our diet regularly. So they do not require any digestion process. They are readily absorbed either in fat or in water. And the next component is minerals. Similarly, minerals, they do not undergo a big process of digestion, but these minerals can easily be digested by the production of HCl in stomach. Any doubts, children? Okay. Now we'll get into the process of digestion. So now we'll get into the process of digestion. So we already know digestion is the process of breaking down of complex substances into simpler forms like carbohydrates turning into glucose, protein into amino acids and fats into fatty acids and glycerol. Whereas vitamins and minerals are readily absorbed in the body. So now just imagine the food that we eat. What happens to the food that we eat, children? It reaches your mouth. So what do we have in our mouth? Very good. So we have different components in our mouth that favors the initial digestion of food. So first we'll start with mouth or buccal cavity. So mouth or buccal cavity, it consists of three important parts. They are teeth, tongue, and the third one is saliva. So when you take teeth, we have 32 permanent teeth which can be divided into four major groups. The four major groups includes incisors, canine, premolar and molar. So when you take the lower jaw and the upper jaw, so just imagine this is your upper and this is your lower jaw. You can find the front four broad teeth called the incisors. So if I give you an apple, how do you eat an apple? We bite an apple. So that bite is because of the incisors arranged in the front. So totally we have 8 incisors, 4 in the upper jaw and 4 in the lower jaw. So we have 4 incisors arranged like this. Okay. Next is the canine. So the canine are side sharp teeth that helps in tearing the flesh of an animal. So you will have side sharp teeth. Can you count the number and say, children? We will have 4 canines, 2 in the upper jaw and 2 in the lower jaw. Next comes the premolar. The meaning of pre is before. So before molar. The difference between premolar and molar is the size. Premolar will be smaller whereas molar will be big, and the number of count, premolar will be 8, 4 in the upper and 4 in the lower, whereas molar will be 12, 6 in the upper and 6 in the lower. So these two varieties, they help in complete grinding and mixing of food. Say for example, premolar helps in coarse grinding whereas molar helps in fine grinding. Okay. So the initial mechanical destruction of food is done by the different types of teeth. Then comes tongue. So tongue carries certain special cells called the taste buds which are necessary to find the different types of taste. And they also have certain special receptors over their cell called the gustatory receptors. The tongue will have taste buds, and these taste buds are covered by certain receptors, specialized receptors called the gustatory receptors. These gustatory receptors help in finding different types of taste like sweet, sour, salt and bitter. We have one more taste called the umami, which is found recently. This means we feel the taste of meat. Okay. And the next important one is saliva. So saliva, it plays a major role in the process of digestion. The saliva is secreted by 3 pairs of salivary glands. The first gland is parotid. The second gland is sublingual. And the third gland is submaxillary. Parotid gland is present near to the face or near to the ears, whereas sublingual is present beneath the tongue and submaxillary is present in the lower jaw. So these 3 glands help in the production of saliva. So saliva will carry an enzyme called salivary amylase. So the saliva will carry an enzyme called salivary amylase, which is also called as ptyalin. This salivary amylase helps in the initial digestion of carbohydrates food. So it helps in the initial digestion of carbohydrates. That is why whenever we eat rice or any carbohydrates rich food like wheat, you can feel the sweetness in your tongue. It is because the saliva carrying salivary amylase starts breaking down the carbohydrates into the simpler form. But initial digestion only will occur in the mouth, whereas the complete digestion will take place in small intestine. Okay. So the next, after mouth, from the mouth, the food enters into where? It enters into the esophagus. So the saliva will mix the food completely, it wets the food completely, and it forms a structure called bolus. So bolus meaning the complete mixed wet food that helps in easy movement. Okay. So the bolus will enter into the esophagus. So between mouth and the esophagus, we have an important structure called the pharynx. So this pharynx will have a flap-like structure called the epiglottis. This epiglottis plays a major role. Why? Because from the mouth, when the food enters the pharynx, here we have another connection with the windpipe too. So the pharynx and the epiglottis will allow the food only to enter into the esophagus. So now from the mouth, the food enters the pharynx. From pharynx, the food enters the esophagus. So now let us see what happens in esophagus. Now, from the mouth, the food reaches the pharynx and reaches the long tubular sac or the structure called the esophagus or the food pipe. So, esophagus helps in easy movement of food by contraction and relaxation of muscles. So, we have certain specialized muscle here called the sphincter muscles. Especially we have the esophageal sphincters. Esophageal sphincter muscle. So these esophageal sphincter muscle will contract and relax. Say for example, the movement will be like this. The contraction and relaxation. So the contraction and relaxation of these muscles will help in easy movement of food into the esophagus. So this kind of movement you call it as peristaltic movement. So you call these movement as peristaltic movement. Okay. Now the food from the esophagus will enter into the, very good. So it enters the J-shaped or the C-shaped muscular sac called the stomach. So stomach will carry gastric glands. It carries gastric glands. So on the walls of the stomach, we'll have certain glands. They are called the gastric glands. These gastric glands helps in secretions that helps in digestion. So gastric glands secretes HCl, pepsin and mucus. So HCl, it helps in killing the germs that are present in the food. One more important role of HCl is it maintains an acidic medium in the stomach. So only when the medium is acidic, the protein digestion can occur. So as I already told you, protein digestion takes place in stomach with the help of an enzyme pepsin. So the pepsin will act on protein and convert into amino acids. But complete digestion cannot occur, only the partial digestion will occur in the stomach with the help of pepsin. And the third is mucus. So mucus, it helps in lubricating or it protects the inner lining of the stomach. Say for example, if there is an excess secretion of HCl, what happens? The HCl can damage the stomach completely. Why? Because it has a tendency to even dissolve a razor. So that's strong as the HCl. So sometimes it can also create pits in the stomach, which is so called the ulcerative ulcer condition of ulcer. So it is necessary to bring down the production of HCl. So mucus plays an important role in bringing down the production of HCl. And sometimes we also feel regurgitation of food or the reverse back, an acid flux, acidity, the condition called acidity. It is all because of excess secretion of HCl. This HCl can be secreted even during temptation. So sometimes we tempt to eat some kind of food, right? So even in that time, HCl production can increase, so which causes acidity. So all these are controlled by the secretion of mucus. Okay. So stomach carrying gastric glands produce HCl, pepsin and mucus, which helps in the digestion of protein. Now the food from the stomach has to enter into the next. So this part, I told you, this part is called the duodenum. So duodenum is a place where it connects the secretion of liver as well as the secretion of lipase, which will lipase from the pancreas, which enters the small intestine. Now I will tell you how the process takes place.